with regards to the level that we're in, Ryan, what are the chances of us moving into a level 5 again? Do you think there's a risk of us moving back to a level 5 by the way things are happening, or maybe what situation would lead us to going back to a lockdown or a level 5? Yeah.
Essentially, possibly, if we take a look at other countries, say, for example, China. China was given the freedom when they eased off the lockdown, and they allowed members of the public to go back to work. But after some time, as they saw the percentage increase in numbers in cases, they were forced to go back into a hard lockdown. So the reality is there. I mean, the Western Cape themselves right now is facing the same possible scenario where they could go into a hard lockdown because the percentage and numbers of rates are increasing. So the reality of hard going back down to hard level 5 is there. And this is where companies need to take the responsibility themselves, from whether you're an employer, a business owner, an employee, or an individual. This is where your roles and responsibilities need to be put into place, and you understand, what we need to do from as an individual and as a business as a whole, what needs to be done to address these specific risk exposures so that we don't go back.
But maybe can you just slightly, maybe whilst you're on the roles and responsibilities of businesses, individuals, and just generally all stakeholders with regards to health and safety, because obviously health and safety, it involves everyone, as you're seeing everyone going around with the mask, social distancing, sanitizing. So what are the responsibilities of businesses, individuals, and just anyone in general, the public, with regards to health and safety?
Each organization or business within itself currently, they have their own business structures that they have in place already, and standards that they have, which they're trying to achieve a certain goal. And within those structures, they have management processes that they follow to keep in place so they can achieve their desired goals. Now, the same thing comes to health and safety. Within each and every single organization, each should have its own unique health and safety management system in place, and this is where the importance and the assistance of your health and safety professionals that will come in and advise you, because the first thing that needs to be done is a risk assessment, because like I said, each company is unique in the scope of work that they do and the procedures that they use. With the health and safety professional needs to understand the scope of work, and that's when they do the risk assessment. But the risk assessment should involve from your owner to your manager to your supervisor to your general employee, because you need to completely understand their work, their scope of work, and how they engage and interact with their customers, their suppliers, how you're receiving goods. No matter what form or trade you are working in, you need to understand the work, the scope of work, and the procedures that they use, because each is unique in its own way. And once you're able to do a final thorough risk assessment, then you are able to put policies, plans, and procedures in place to remove or reduce the risk. And most, especially corporate companies, have tried to aim and achieve a zero harm culture, which is it's a great achievement to make. But in reality, there is no such thing as a zero harm. The potential is always there, and that's why legislation states that as far as reasonably possible to eliminate or reduce the risk. So take, for example, when you're doing your policies, plans, and procedures, you are busy putting a plan in place. So wherever you have a possible area of exposure to the COVID-19, you need to have policies, plans, checklists, and registers put in place to remove or reduce the risk. And I know the general consensus right now is to follow the hierarchy of control measures, which is currently everybody's focusing on PPE, is your face mask, and sanitization of your hands. Yeah. But if you look at in health and safety, if you look at the hierarchy of control measures, PPE is your very last resort of a control measure, So the important thing is, number one, do your risk assessment. Make sure it's thorough and it's done thoroughly. And then also that your policy plans and procedures are unique to your company and the way you manage your health and safety systems within your company. Afterwards, you have established each person's role and responsibility. So generally speaking, in health and safety, the employer's responsibility is to take care of all the employees' health and safety needs. But also the employee has a responsibility to adhere to those plans, policies, and procedures. And legislation from the government has told us what standards we have to abide to, and we need to abide to those things. Yeah. So each and every person is responsible with their roles and responsibilities. But once you've got your plans and procedures in place, the most important thing to do is communicate to your staff, communicate with your management. Make sure that the communication process of understanding the different risks that are involved, the procedures that are involved, the control measures that are put in place. And that's why you have your checklists, your registers, so that there's a sense of accountability and a plan in place.
Okay. Continue with the conversation on our YouTube channel.